Welcome to LabTech Client Onboarding Training. With client onboarding, numerous settings that can be applied to a client when you're adding that client to LabTech. These settings will facilitate putting the client in the appropriate group, using the appropriate alert templates, specifying what type of health report you want for them, as well as many other useful functions that will streamline the onboarding process and get your clients up and running in a shorter period of time. Here in the Control Center, right-click on Clients to add a new client. When creating the new client, fill in as many of these fields as possible to make this screen a useful repository of information about this client going forward. If you know this information at the time of client creation, it is a good idea to populate the new ticket notification email address in this field. Notice that if left blank, we will be using the default that is set in the dashboard. After filling out the screen, we click on Add New. Our new client is now going to show in the navigation tree, and we will double-click on this new client to get into the properties. Here within the new client screen, here within the client properties, left-click on the Info tab. Here in the Info tab, we have many settings that are applicable to the client onboarding process, and we will review those now. The first drop-down at the top of the screen is a service plan type. Which one of our service plans do we want to put this client into? We'll go ahead and select Gold. Notice how making that change has activated the Save Additional Information button. Anytime we're done updating any of the fields on this Info tab as they pertain to the onboarding process, the Save Additional Information button at the top is where we're going to save those changes. We can also specify the alert. After specifying a service plan, click on the drop-down immediately below that to set the default alert template for this client. I will go ahead and select the built-in template of default 24/7. We can go ahead and put a check in the Enable Onboarding box, which is going to apply several onboarding scripts to this client that take care of things such as monitoring, scripting, and reporting. The next section here pertains to the daily health check. The first setting is to determine what do we want to do for a server that has failed. What action will be taken by LabTech? Do nothing, record a stat, raise an alert, or create a ticket. So let's say for a server that's failed, we're going to create a ticket. The next selection applies to workstations that have failed, and we'll say raise an alert. In the next drop-down, are there any additional server checks we want to perform? We may choose to perform antivirus, performance, or antivirus and performance checks. So I'll select antivirus and performance, and notice this next checkbox, skip missing virus scanner. So what we're going to do in that case is if the machine in question does not have an installed antivirus scanner, we will skip that machine for these additional server check actions. These next few fields pertain to the daily health report. These next few fields pertain to how we want to run the health report for this client. We have a daily, weekly, and monthly health report. Notice for each entry, we can specify which email address we want the report to be sent to. Let's click on the drop-down to see what our choices are. The health report daily is going to be our default health report that's going to compute. The health report daily is going to be our default health report that includes informations. The health report daily is going to be our default health report that includes information about workstations and servers and their status at this client. The condensed report condenses all of the statistical data into just 2 lines within the report. The health report full is going to include a separate page for each workstation, and the health report summary is really more of an overview. So maybe we will want to look at a condensed report daily, and we can choose to email this if we like. Maybe we'll look at the weekly report, and for the weekly, we'll do a full report. And we can even specify a different email address for this one. And you may choose the monthly summary report, and perhaps in this case we don't even need to email that monthly report. Or if you'd like, send that as well. The next section here in the onboarding portion of the info tab for this client applies to hotfixing. We have a simple checkbox to determine whether or not this client is going to be getting patched. And with this drop-down we can specify their hotfix window. The LT backup section only applies if you have licenses for our LT backup add-in, and here's where you'll populate that server key. Ticket policy. Here in the ticket policy section, we are effectively establishing SLAs for tickets that are managed out of LabTech. So let's say the initial response hours, we want tickets to be responded to within 24 hours of being created. Ticket completed hours. Let's say we want tickets to be completed within 48 hours of being created. And the alert threshold percentage. This is the percentage of the ticket completed time that we want to use as the threshold for an alert to be generated. So I will set the threshold to 50%. 50% of the 48-hour ticket completed window is going to be 24 hours. So after 24 hours, if the ticket has still not been completed, we will generate an alert. Assign new tickets. What LabTech user do we want to assign new tickets for this client to? Manager email. The manager email ties to the alert threshold percentage. Who are we going to send an alert to? And if we put a check mark in this box, we will always alert the manager when we've got an alert specified here for that threshold. The last section here on the page is the virus config settings. This only applies if you have one of our LabTech antivirus solutions incorporated to your LabTech installation. And so if you're using LabTech to distribute the antivirus software and licenses you have gotten from us, you will populate that information here, the expiration date and license key, the password and username, as well as the fully qualified domain name for the antivirus server. That way when LabTech installs antivirus, it's going to pull this virus configuration information to apply it to the agents for this client. After all of the changes have been filled out here on the Info tab as they pertain to client onboarding, we're going to scroll back up to the top, and remember, this Save Additional Information button is where we save these changes for onboarding new clients. This concludes client onboarding training.